y'all. Welcome to this week's episode of Ducking Realitea. In the pond with me today is, this is what I was going to ask, is it's not Dr. Stacia, right? It's just...
No, just plain Stacia.
Well, it's not plain anything. But today is a very special guest. I met Stacia, thanks to one of my customers who kept telling me, because, wow, I almost got tissues. So I met you because you are a grief counselor.
Yes.
And so after my friend Wilkie died, I have a good friend that was telling me I had asked her, because she worked in hospice and grief. And I was like, oh, do you have maybe I could talk to a grief counselor for the podcast and, help my friends. And she kept saying, well, do you need it? I'm like, no, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. And then she finally, she would check in every once in a while. And so finally I was like, yeah, I probably do need it. And I don't want to carry this for the rest of my life. I don't know how to grieve. I was never taught how to grieve as a child. And I went through a lot of death early in my life. And so I was like, all right, yes, I do want to do this because I don't want to carry this tragedy with me forever. I want to learn to live with it and appreciate it. And so that led me to you.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful when I met you because I'm very skittish around therapists. Mm-hmm. And I talked to one person on the phone and I was like, oh, they seem really I like their vibe. And then I got an appointment with you and I was like, all right. And then I met you, immediately fell in love. It was immediately like, oh, this is totally one of my people.
Yeah.
And then you helped me a lot.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And I mean, in so much ways than just the grief. And then I got to learn a little bit about you and how you got into it. Because I was also wondering, how does one become a grief counselor? Mm-hmm. And what puts you into wanting to talk to people about the worst thing that they go through?
I think so many of us in the grief counseling world have had grief of our own. And it's almost like you get called to do this work as a way of metabolizing your own grief experience.
So basically the same way almost all therapists become therapists.
Exactly.
Just trying to figure out what's wrong with you.
We are all a bunch of wounded healers. Yes.
So will you share with us some of your story and how you got to where you're helping so many people?
Yeah. So 22 years ago, I was mom with a just turned 2-year-old, and my 34-year-old husband got hit by a car and died on the way to work one day. Wow. So everything that I imagined my future would be was suddenly erased. And I felt like my future was a black hole. I couldn't see beyond the next breath. Yeah. And felt ill-equipped to deal with the situation and lost and terrified.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, here I was with this toddler who, still in diapers, barely even speaking, right?
Right.
And I was incredibly blessed with a lot of support from friends and family and started attending support group through Sutter Hospice and had in my mind that this could be work I do. But I was in the birth world then. I was a birth doula and really had actually just started being a birth doula when Matthew died. So I was pursuing that. I mean, it was incredibly insane, honestly, to do that work as a single mother with a 2-year-old. What the fuck was I thinking? Right. But I got a roommate, and I just cobbled together a lot of different work to make it through. And then when my kiddo was about 8 years old, it started to become clearer that they were not developing the same way that their friends were. And they had tics. They were diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome. Then it was all this sensory stuff. Anyway, I kept getting them tested, right? Because I'm like, what is happening here?
Right.
And oof, they got every diagnosis you can imagine throughout the years. Generalized anxiety disorder, major depressive disorder, autism spectrum disorder, Tourette syndrome, and then gender dysphoria hit. And then they came out as non-binary at 14. And yeah, it was really hard. So I was doing the birth doula work. I was doing postpartum work because that was more schedulable.
Right, yeah.
And doing facilitating support groups for new moms. And I sort of did not love postpartum work. It felt a little bit like I was a very high-paid laundry doer and dish doer.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
You're getting all the worst of it.
Yeah, not that that's not completely valuable. And plus I did help with, nursing and sort of processing birth stories. And that was my favorite part, the processing the birth story and the facilitating support groups. And what does that sound like?
Therapy.
Yeah. So,
yep.
And then I was really thinking again, okay, I really want to go back to school. But at that point, my kid was so anxious that there was no leaving them. Gosh. I had to wait until it was going to be okay for me to leave the house in the evening and then to be at home alone.
Yeah.
But by now, we didn't have the roommate anymore. We had moved. So I had to wait until they were 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But then I did. I was 47 years old and I went back to school. And I mean, it was crazy, but I did that. And in the first year or a few months of graduate school, I was thinking like, okay, I know I had this idea to be a grief counselor, but do I really want to think about my grief for the rest of my life? Like, can I not maybe do that?
Some tiny paper cuts to your
heart.
Like,
do I want to live in that space? I have been living in that space for so long already, but do I want to continue? And I thought maybe not. I thought maybe I would work with parents of kids who were coming out and or who were developing differently, special needs kids or whatever. That kind of was very alive for me at that time, right?
Right, because that's what every day is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, then maybe that's where I'm drawn. But then it became clear. By the time it was time to choose a practicum setting, which is where you're sort of like your internship while you're still in school, one of my widow friends was working at Sutter Care at Home Hospice and said, oh, there's a great supervisor here and come do your practicum here.
Right.
And I did. And I could say like, and the rest is history. but truly, yeah. I did my practicum. It definitely felt like, oh, here is why I was put on the earth. Here is the calling. This feels aligned. This feels like my dharma, however you want to put it.
Right.
And I felt good making meaning, finding the purpose of having been through such intensity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's an important part of the grieving process. Because the worst part is when someone's like, well, everything happens for a reason. And you're like, this is no reason.
There's no reason
for this.
And I think I love that you brought that up because these platitudes are so common and they come up all the time and they're so unhelpful. And yet people are completely unprepared to know how to be helpful. So, yeah, I think that when we're talking about purpose, we're talking about our experience after the loss. We're talking about using that experience of having been in grief. We're not talking about that there is a reason or a purpose that your person died.
Right. Yeah, because that's...
No. I always say, like, this whole thing, like the whole Kubler-Ross steps or stages or whatever she calls them of dying that have now been co-opted to be used for grief, the grief process. You know, the last one is acceptance.
Will you tell us what they all are, just in case someone doesn't know what they are?
Oh, gosh. Okay, it's like bargaining, denial, anger, depression, bargaining, depression. Acceptance.
Yeah.
So acceptance, you know, it has this connotation of acceptable, right? And so I feel like it puts pressure on the griever to get to this place where this loss was acceptable to them. No. This loss fucking sucks, and it will remain fucking sucky.
Yeah.
And the fact of their death is not okay and does not have to be okay. You will get to a place where you are accepting the reality of the loss, where you are integrating that loss into your life, where you are alchemizing your experience to become greater, maybe, or at least back to how you were before.
Yeah.
That's the purpose. That's the meaning making.
Yeah. It's not being like, oh, I accept that this happened. You're like, I accept that it is the reality.
Exactly.
Because I said something, I was like, I'll never be over it. Like, I won't be.
No,
like,
and there's no need to be.
And I don't want to be.
Yes.
And that was a big acceptance for me, was like being like, oh, yeah, I'm okay that I'm never going to be okay about this.
Yeah. And when we're talking about okay, what are we talking about, right? Like, you are okay.
Right.
You're an okay person.
Yeah.
You're doing this. You know, you are amazing.
Yeah.
And the fact of his death is not okay.
Right. That, and I'll never be okay with that he died. I'm always going to be like mad and upset and not understand it and be frustrated and be sad about it.
Yes. It's a sad, horrible thing.
Yeah.
That happened.
And then I was like, I hope I'm never less sad about it. Like, I don't want to lose that sadness. Like, I don't want to ever lose the fact that I love that I got to spend time with him and love him and be loved by him. And I will look at all of those memories, and I want to be sad that I don't have that with him anymore. I want to be okay that I'm still sad about it.
Yes.
And not have it destroy my daily.
That's what it is. It's about, you don't want the death or the loss to control you.
Right.
To control how you are in the world.
Yeah.
Right? And you want that connection, like you're saying, to be the love.
Yes.
We can get confused and think that we are connected by the grief. And so there's reminding, it's the love. It's the love that connects you. And yes, when you feel that love for the person, sadness comes because he isn't here.
Right.
Right? But the connection is the memory, the love. There's this fear I see in people that they might forget him, might forget your loved one, and no, they're unforgettable. You won't forget them.
Yeah, you might just think of them a little less, but when you think of them, you'll still have those same feelings. Yes,
that's very true, because what happens is that you're building your life around your loss. So when your life becomes so big that your loss is just a small part of it, you're thinking about them less.
Yeah. It's like, try to like figure out how to help someone see that. Because when you're in it, it's hard to think you'll ever. And then it's like giving yourself room to feel it all. Because it's hard to.
Yeah, I think I often say, like, you can't push a river, right? You can't be where you aren't yet. So in grief, you sort of have to just be where you are. And that's partly one of the great difficulties of being a grief counselor, is that I'm sitting there with you where you are. And sometimes that is sitting in a stew of pain and not pushing, not trying to push that river of grief. Yeah. Because you can't. And it's just that puts pressure on the griever, and that's not helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not helpful. And so, like, 'cause I had a few people in, like, during that time and months after where I was like, if I was just having a bad day and I'd be like, well, I just, I don't know. I miss him and I'm sad today. And I had one or two people like, oh, you're still dealing with that?
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, yeah, because he's still dead.
Yeah.
Like,
I know they stayed dead for so long.
I know. It's so selfish. Like, and I just would be like so shocked and hurt. And I'm like, yeah, what is the timeline that I'm supposed to be over it?
Yeah.
And
never.
It was just,
There would be that. Never would be the answer to that. And I hate over it. I hate that because that is such a external pressure, right? I should be over this.
Yeah. And like, why do you care if I'm over it? Like,
I'll tell you exactly why they care.
Oh, please.
Because it scares them to death. No pun intended. Because they're looking at you like, uh-oh, if she's still thinking about this, what's going to happen to me when my person dies?
Oh. Yeah. It's like when you start to get to when you're divorcing and all your married friends like stop being friends with you. And the same thing happens when you are widowed. Your friends change drastically.
They can for some people, yeah.
I've seen that and always thought that's so like what happened?
I hear that a lot. And there are some people that couldn't cope when my husband died. We were young also, but yeah, I had certain friends and neighbors who just avoided me. And then other friends who came out of the woodwork. Yeah. Who became closer to me.
Yeah, it's always interesting. I always say death and money make people funny.
Yes,
that
indeed.
Those two things are just, you don't, because like I said, from my first like kind of dalliance with death, I was 9, and then the next one, big one, was when I was 12. And when I was 12, I was looking around and thinking, all of these people in this room have such a different perspective on and like feeling on how this just affected. Like no one had the same reaction.
Right?
Like, and some of them were so far apart that I was just like, I remember just being in awe of like how one event could be perceived in so many different ways. And then being like, okay, you really do get to decide how you deal with something.
Yes, you do.
Because I was like, okay, that person's definitely not, they're just like pretending that they're not dead. Like, and this person is like, they might have been dead 2 days ago. It was just such a weird, like, landscape of people's reactions.
Definitely. And that's what I mean when I say I have to be where you are.
Yeah. As a grief counselor specifically, how hard is it to like, do you ever just want to shake someone and be like, or is it just that you learn kind of how to be patient with them?
I think I learn compassion or not learn it, but rely on it. And just know that not everyone is ready to move any more quickly than they are. And, there's a certain point at which I want to challenge them a little bit because I don't know how much it's helping them to stay in a certain place that isn't serving them. But I wouldn't say it like that. I would more sort of show them what's happening, reflect back.
Right.
And sometimes I'll ask, do you want that to be different? Because it's not always clear. But yeah, some people, I mean, look, here we are in this place of our cuckoo country where when someone dies, it's sort of like this very American thing to say, like, get over it, be stoic, be strong, which means be stoic.
Right.
Which I like to debunk for people because I think it takes so much more courage to be vulnerable and show emotions than it does to be stoic, right? That's so too. A stronger stance in my book, but that's a whole other Brene Brown podcast.
I do love me some Brene Brown.
but we really are that pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of people here. Yeah. And so there is this mentality that people come into grief counseling with that like, I'm doing well because I am functional and I am fine,
Oh, you mean me?
But you also just said something at the beginning when you were introducing yourself as a griever, that you came in knowing that this would change you and wanting it to be for the better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it had already changed me, like, I mean, and I haven't really talked about it much on here, but like standing out in front of his apartment waiting to find out. And I knew in every inch of my body that what I was about to find, and I didn't want to. And I kept saying like, I'm wrong and I'm not right. And, and then like that night I worked. Like one of the guys that we work with was supposed to work and he was so just distraught. And I was like, I got it. And he was like, what? I'm like, I got it. Like, let me just be here to take care of everyone. And at that point, not many people knew that I was the one that found him. Not many people knew that we were dating. I keep my stuff private because I want to keep it. I've had where everybody's opinion is into my life. And so since I moved here, I've been really careful about keeping what's mine until I know how I feel about it, until I know what everything is, because I don't want the outside influences in it.
Yeah.
And so, and he respected that of me. And, and so I worked and I was just, it was easier for me to move through all of the paces and take care of everyone else and make sure everyone was okay. And I know I just rolled right into that.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of learned to do as a kid. Like you have a big
Autopilot.
family. Yeah. We need food. We need this. These people are going to be crying and we need to take care of them. These people are going to be getting drunk. We need to get, what I mean? Like, and so I kind of rolled into that. And then I realized a few days later that I wasn't feeling it and I wasn't dealing with it.
Yeah,
and
you were in shock.
Yeah. And then a couple months later, I got to meet you and was like, yeah, like on the surface, I know I'm doing okay, but I know I'm not. And I don't want to carry it. I don't want to be sad about it or burying it under numbing and booze or whatever devices that I would latch onto. Because that's where most of your addictions come from. It's kind of like you're trying to numb some of that.
Yes, exactly what you're trying to do.
And I was just like, I come from that. I don't want to continue it. And so and I wanted it to be, I didn't want his death to just be sadness. I wanted to figure out a way that I could alchemize it into something more meaningful.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what served you.
Yeah.
Coming into counseling with that, you're already halfway there. Which is probably why I was so excited to have you as my client. Like, woohoo, she's ready to do the work.
Willing. She's not only here, but she wants to learn. But the thing about, I didn't realize, like, because I have been to therapy, like regular talk therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy. And, I've tried a bunch of different things. And I was like, what's going to be different about grief counseling? And it did feel different, but it also felt like therapy around just one specific issue. Like, because we talked about a bunch of different things.
We did. Because grief brings up your whole life. Yeah. First of all, loss begets loss. What I mean by that is that every prior loss comes up when you have a current loss. Yeah. And that can be prior deaths, but it can also be prior other things that you've grieved or didn't grieve.
Didn't grieve would probably be more accurate.
So that happens.
Yeah.
So there's this whole, it's confusing being a grief counselor, to be quite honest, because, I went to school to become a therapist.
Right.
And so what is quote unquote therapy and what is grief counseling, right?
Yeah.
Supposedly the difference is kind of more that, obviously we're focused on the grief at hand. It's short term. So that is very different.
Yeah, most therapy doesn't have like an endpoint.
Exactly. And with therapy, because there is no endpoint, we can kind of excavate slowly into childhood patterning and, kind of see how that's affecting you and what you're carrying and pick it apart and examine it, right?
Right.
Navel gaze for a while. and then see about creating new patterns and that sort of thing. With grief counseling, we don't have that kind of time.
Right.
It's really like here and now, today. How are we getting through this? It's almost can feel like crisis management in a way, but it's also very tools oriented. You know, want to give you actual things to do, ways to think about it. A lot of grief counseling, honestly, is just normalizing.
Yeah.
Because there's not a time in your life where there is that much intensity and you aren't crazy. There's no pathology.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that and giving birth.
And you've done both ends of the spectrum.
I have done both ends of the spectrum, you know? And they are so similar. Being with someone in labor is so similar to sitting with someone in the early stages of their grief when they are having those grief waves. They're like contractions, you know. And it's really similar. And the dying process, too. I sat with a friend who was dying, and it was so similar to being a birth doula, just bolstering her and trying to get her comfortable and, you know, get her to the other side of this process. I forgot how I got onto this birth doula thing. Oh, that there's such intensity that you think you are going crazy because you cannot imagine that this is okay and normal.
Yeah.
And it is. It's actually normal. So that's what I'm saying to people, like, yes, makes sense you feel this way.
Right.
You know, we give out that little handout, common grief reactions, which people are just amazed at seeing, like so surprised. Oh, that's why I'm so sensitive to noise and light now?
Right.
Really? Oh, that's why I cannot control my grumpy anger outbursts? Oh, I didn't realize that was grief.
Well, nobody teaches you about it.
No, I know. So I have such fantasies about having classes in high schools called grief.
I think because why we don't teach it, that is beyond me. Because every part, it's the one like universal thing that we're all going to have.
Death and taxes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and some people try to avoid their taxes. But
you cannot avoid death.
You cannot. Yeah, but like every person is going to die and is going to know someone that dies.
Yes.
Like that's the one, like, if there's anything we all have in common, it's those two things.
100% of the people that we love are going to die.
Yeah. And we never really know when.
Mm-mm.
And I have thought about this and have talked about this a bunch. Like, is it better to know that person is going to die and get to have a long goodbye, or that they just are gone one day?
Yeah, we don't know.
Like, you can't, and having gone through both, I can think of the good and the bad in both.
Yeah.
You know
Comparing is really, really common in grief.
Yeah.
And so many people do that. And in groups, you know, we do these grief groups at work, and yeah, comparing is a thing that happens. Jealousy is a thing that happens in grief, where you have this like, oh, why couldn't I have at least had some time to say goodbye?
Right.
Or why did I have to watch them suffer? Right. Yeah. So there's this like jealous of the other way.
Yes.
Or jealous of the happy family that is still intact. God damn them. You know? So
yeah, like what's wrong with them that it didn't completely destroy them? It's wrong with me.
God.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? I remember thinking, like, I saw this old man on a bicycle, no helmet. My husband was killed on his bicycle. No helmet, rolling around, veering into traffic, alive. I was like, what is this man doing alive when my husband was a young man and healthy and wore a freaking helmet and put rubber bands on his, you know, bottom of his pants so they wouldn't get caught up.
Yeah, he did everything right.
Everything right. And he's dead and this motherfucker is still alive? Yeah. Where's the justice here? And then the second thought is, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with me for having that thought? Yep. I'm evil.
Yeah.
Oh no. I have lost me too.
The gremlins have taken over.
Exactly. This is not good. Yeah. Will I ever get me back?
Yeah. Did it take you a long time to get back?
It did. Well, let me think. I don't think I ever did get me back.
Mm.
I got this new version of me.
Mm.
That me doesn't exist anymore because that me was innocent and untouched. I had lost ex-boyfriends before that, but I had not lost current love of my life, person who I had vowed to spend the rest of my life with, right? So, and I had not been a single parent suddenly, and I had not been in a place where my future was so uncertain.
Mm.
And so you don't become that person. You can't go back.
Right.
You cannot go back.
Yeah. I think if you can heal from it, you get like almost I don't want to say better, but it's like the next level of you.
Yes, you're more conscious, more compassion, bigger person than you were before.
Yeah. And the smaller stuff does really and if you can keep it, the smaller stuff does really fade away. And you do kind of just get like, all right, this inconvenience is not going to be like a big deal to me. It's like one of those things
you're grumpy, everything drives you nuts. Yes, that does go away.
Yeah. For a long time, I didn't know if that was going to go away.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I just
yeah,
felt
yeah.
Like my bandwidth for everything was so much shorter and just like
God.
anger and kind of what's the point? And
I remember filling up a grocery cart and then becoming so aware that the registers were too loud that I had to leave the store with the full thing just in the aisle. Goodbye. I'm out of here. I can't be in here for another second. Like that amount of porousness, that does change.
Yeah.
And there's this other thing that came up when I was talking about how I didn't go back, right? I was thinking about how for like 3 years, my goal was to get back to the life I used to have.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost a sudden realization around 3 years in that I wasn't going to be able to get my old life back and that this is my life now. It was shocking. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is my life. This is how I am living with. I am a single mom.
Right.
I am living in this place. These are the people I have around me. This is the work I'm doing. I mean, it was just like, what? I'm not living my imagined and imaginary future that I thought I would be when I married my husband.
Right.
We were going to have 2 children and live in this place and do that other thing. And now all of a sudden, here I am. This is my life.
Mm.
What in the world? How did I get here? But it was also helpful because then I could stop using so much energy trying to get back to the other one.
Right. And it gives you space now to figure out, okay, this is what my life is right now. What do I want it to be?
What do I want it to do? Exactly.
Right.
Like, now I have to build up a future. Yeah. Okay.
And that's almost just as like daunting and overwhelming.
Uh-huh.
And like, then you have to grieve all over again because now you have to grieve the life that you thought you were going to have on top of the grief that you have from the actual loss.
Right.
And
yeah,
that's
part of it.
So much grief in life.
There's
because
so
it's
much
people,
grief
it's
in life.
Things, it's ideas, and we still don't talk about it.
Yes. What did someone say to me the other day? Something about how he didn't understand why he was grieving the partner who is still alive.
Oh.
And I was like, because they aren't who they were. Your partner isn't who he used to be.
Right.
And, there's a word for that. We call it ambiguous loss. And that's when the person is alive, but just not the same.
Right.
You know, I mean, parents of trans kids go through that, right? Like their kid is alive. They're just not who they used to be.
Right. And they're not who you thought they were going to be.
Right. Where's that little girl or little boy that you had for however many years before they transitioned, right?
Yeah, and you have a whole, and your brain has mapped out this whole life they're going to live.
Yes.
And like you've thought about what your life will look like alongside theirs, so now you're grieving that. Yeah, and sometimes like, when people are like, I don't know why it's so hard for them, I'm like, well, it's hard because they loved that version.
Yeah.
And
grief.
they didn't think anything.
It's change.
Yeah.
Big change. Really, grief is a reaction to big change.
Oh, I like that. It makes it sound less scary, too.
Yeah, and less pathological because it's normal. I mean, and it can be big change that is wanted. I look at the yard at any first day of kindergarten, and you're going to see a bunch of crying moms. Are they bummed that their kid is now old enough to go to kindergarten? No. But it's a big change.
Yeah.
So they're crying.
Yeah, but yeah, to call it grief just sounds like it's too much.
Like it's
like grief just makes it.
Well, it brings up all the, you know, I call it movie grief or TV grief, right? Where you're just like wailing and all in black and in a puddle, right? Sometimes grief is just like wistful. Sometimes it's nostalgic. Sometimes it's a moment of chest tightening. Sometimes it's, lying on the basement floor in a puddle of tears. Also.
Yeah. My favorite was the floor of the shower, like a shower bath. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Driving.
Oh, yeah.
That's another good one.
Yeah.
Don't
really
do this at home, kids.
It's a really good thing.
Pull over.
Yeah. Well, I prefer driving and screaming. Yeah. It's like the safe space where you can just scream into the void.
Yeah. Remember the screaming that we used to do at the beginning of COVID?
Yeah.
That was grief, friends.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't living the life that we were accustomed to living anymore. Big change.
Yeah. And a lot of people struggled with that.
Yes. And now we're screaming at whatever. Remember those nights? It was like prescribed. Like, this is the thing. Natively, intuitively, we do know how to grieve. We do know what we need.
Right.
We just are trying to adapt to living in this place where it's not welcome, where a grief counselor in grief gets 3 days off of work.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
If you're lucky nowadays.
Right.
It used to be 7, I think. Like when I was a kid, I think it used to, for like a sibling or a parent, I think you used to get a week off.
A whole week.
Yeah. And then if it was someone else, it was like 3 days.
Yeah.
And now I think it's maybe 3 days. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's so insane.
Especially because of all the things that come with when someone dies. All the other,
Oh,
not
yeah.
even just the emotional stuff,
Exactly.
the rest of it.
Yeah, all the paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The planning and paperwork and decisions that have to be made. And they're all huge, overwhelming decisions.
Yes. Sometimes you have to move or get someone's entire life out of their apartment so you don't have to pay rent the next month. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah.
Why do you think we got so far, like, especially Americans, we're so removed from the death of people? Like,
people are really fearful of death. And look at our youth culture, our culture of older women trying to look like they are still 16 so we can look like the people in the magazines.
Right.
Look at the industry of health food and face cream and NADs or whatever it is that people are doing these days to stay young. It's a cult of youth, which is a fear of death and aging, because aging leads to death.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so into this place where like the worst possible outcome is death. Well, hello. We just had this whole conversation. Right. 100% of us are going to die.
Yeah.
It is actually unavoidable, but we all want to avoid it.
or at least stay it off as long as we can.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So because there's this whole fear of death, then there's a fear of grief also.
Yeah.
We don't even want to say the word. We have to come up with other things.
What are your favorite things people have called it? Do you have like a list in your head?
Yes. Like, just dealing with life's transitions.
No.
I'm just staying busy. Like, just this sort of all the platitudes. Well, God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle. Whatever, it makes you stronger. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
It's okay that this affects you. It's meant to. It should.
Yeah.
Someone's love like that, when you have all this love for someone and then suddenly there's nowhere to aim it anymore and you're just with it kind of bottled up in your own self with nowhere for it to go, that is so disorienting. And yeah, it should affect you. It should change you.
Yeah. Why do you think that we fight it so much then? Like, especially because we all do go through it. Like, is it just the fear of the youth and the dying, or like, because we also like kind of put it out over there. Like,
it's over there. We're not getting near it.
Yeah. Like, and now like years ago, your like, grandparents used to live in your house or at least be close, and now we're like just shove them over there in that building where we don't even visit them, and like we kind of just like banish old people too now.
Well, I think also as a people, we're living a lot longer, right? And I think we haven't adapted to that yet. I think we're sort of in our teenagehood of understanding what it is to live past 60, 65, 70,
Yeah.
We haven't adapted to that yet. We still retire at 65. That's very young now.
Right. Yeah, especially if you're living, most people, or the age is starting to hit like 80, 90.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the average.
Middle age was 35. It's not anymore. Let's be real. Do we call 35-year-olds middle age? No.
According to J.D. Vance, they're just crazy kids.
Exactly. But I think according to like a lot of our, when I was 35, I sure did not feel like I was middle-aged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't.
My
body might have.
Now I do. But, when we didn't have, like, most of us didn't have parents that stayed alive past us being, 35, 40.
Yeah. But the Golden Girls, I think, are like, they're like 40 in that show, or supposed to be 40 in that show.
Exactly. And they're like living in a retirement home together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I found out they were supposed to be in their 40s, I was like, what the fuck?
Have you seen those images where they put different hairdos on them? They look so much younger. What?
Yeah, Sophia looks like she's like 47 or something.
Exactly. She's probably
I always thought she was like 80.
Totally.
She's probably like 60 in this year.
Yeah. So I think that's what it's about. I think we just haven't adapted to the reality yet that we do stay alive longer. So we don't really know what to do about older years life.
Yeah, and people slow down so fast now. Like, or not now, but they used to. Like, your grandparents stopped like working out and going and doing certain things, and it was like, well, that's a young person's thing. Where now more of those people are like pushing through and doing things, and they're like,
they're living whole lives.
Yeah, I was just listening to an author the other day who was being interviewed, and he was saying like, well, I'm 80 something, and he's like, but I could still be here for another 10 years, so I still have to go to the gym every morning. And just to hear that made me so happy.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't give up, kind of.
Yeah, like he was like, you're almost 50, so you're like halfway there. So like you need to keep working out the way you want to be moving when you're at my age. And it was just such a hopeful, like joyous of aging, and like he was still so excited about the amount of life he had ahead of himself at 80 something.
Amazing.
That it was just like kind of infectious and joyful, where it's
Right.
just like, oh, I want to be that. Like, I
Well,
want to
that's,
be.
of course you do. This is the thing. We see that and we're like, yes, that, old and healthy. I want to be that. And yeah, of course we do.
Right.
But like, not all of us will have that opportunity. And it's just so much easier to sort of shine a light over in that direction and kind of go there than it is to be with the reality that like, even that person's going to die.
Right. But even like I go to my water aerobics class and there's like some of the older women that come in and they're all bent over and like can't even stand up straight. But I'm like loving the fact that they still come in. And even if they don't, they just kind of bob in the water for a little bit and then they leave.
Yes.
And I just love to see that they're still kind of out there and living and enjoying life. Because I think that like when I was young, my grandmother like sat at her kitchen table all day.
Really?
Like, just ripping butts and drinking tea and talking to everybody.
Well, I also think about we're a little off subject here, but what are
Welcome to a podcast.
Yeah, what our grandparents' lives were like. What were they eating? What were they, what toxins were in their environment that we didn't even know were toxins?
Right. Oh, yeah.
What they were all smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, and they were living, some, like my grandparents, were living with a lot of trauma.
Yep. Same.
Yeah. Just stewing in trauma.
Yeah. Because nobody ever taught them how to deal with it. And I think...
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Now we're back on grief therapy.
Yeah. And I think that when you don't, like I've talked about the body keeps a score on here a bunch. And like, I think when you don't deal with your trauma and you don't try to figure out how to alchemize it, then it does eat you away at you.
Yeah.
And it
just lives in you. And so you're sort of in this constant race of trying to keep it behind you, and that's a lot on your nervous system.
Yeah. How, like, if someone has never been to counseling and they start like with a grief counseling, or if they start, or if they even just have had death and haven't dealt with it, how do you kind of walk someone into it?
For me, what I find helpful is, a lot of the people at the hospice, they start counseling for grief and they don't even know what therapy is, or maybe they know what it is, but they've never been to therapy. This is sort of a gateway into looking at yourself, right? It's just like, okay, my person died. They're offering me this person who can help me deal with it. Great. I'm in, They don't really realize they've signed up to be in counseling, So
they're just following the steps.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, that comes next. I talked to that lady.
That lady told me to go talk to this lady.
Exactly. Okay, I'm talking to the lady. So, which is amazing, because then I get people who are just like open to like receiving help. I like to start with showing them the common grief reactions. That's a really just segue into, here is all these, look at this. This is a piece of paper called common grief reactions. That means that if you're feeling it, it's common. Right. It's normal. It's okay. And just starting right there is so helpful for people because they're like, okay, all these things, normal, great. Okay. And then I can say, well, which ones do you resonate with? What's happening for you?
Right.
And that's like a way in.
Yeah. What are some of the common grief, feelings? What are they?
What are those common grief reactions? So there's the sort of emotional, like longing, sadness, crying ones that you imagine. There's that, what I sort of referenced earlier about the heightened sensitivity to sound, to noise, to people, crowded areas. There's avoiding the place that reminds you of your person, or if they died there, avoiding that place where they died, or sort of avoiding your grief triggers, basically, is a common one. There's a lot of spiritual ones, like why would God do this? Where are they? Is there heaven? Are they in heaven? What's heaven? Looking for signs is really common. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
The light and sound one was probably the one that surprised me the most. Like, I knew my bandwidth sometimes for people was less, but I didn't realize like the auditory and like light sensitivity would be a thing. And
that's a surprising one for a lot of people.
Yeah, because it just feels like it takes your nervous system over to like the next level. Like you're barely holding on a baseline, and then like something loud happens, and you're just like, yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, I sometimes talk about being in grief as like being in a room where everyone is shouting at you at once, because every single thing you look at reminds you of your person. Like all roads lead back to this loss. And so it's this, while you're in your life, in your daily doings, you're also, that poster for that movie, they're never going to see that movie. That, song on that radio, I remember hearing that with them. Oh, that part of the sidewalk, that's where I remember we had this funny moment where they dropped something. Whatever,
Right.
it's just constant.
Yeah.
And you're kind of going back in time, memory, and then going forward in time. Future scary, future what? Future unknown, future how do I do this? Where do I go next? Right? You're kind of pendulating between the two, and it's really hard for your nervous system to keep up.
Yeah, because you're never present.
It's very hard to be present, because in the present tense, then there's sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the other tools that you have that you'll like walk someone through? I mean, I kind of know them but for those that haven't been, and
so I'd say there's a lot of the tools have to do with sort of calming your nervous system, because a lot of what's happening is your nervous system is reacting, and doing things to resource you is going to be helpful. So there's all those breathing exercises that I probably went over with you.
Yep.
There's even just taking a walk, doing anything that creates left-right movement. So like even if it's just tapping your knees left, right, and taking a few breaths there, it can be very helpful. I mean, it depends on what's coming up in your grief, right? So like for people who are maybe having flashback memories of something hard about the death, like finding him,
Right.
or like seeing him ill or whatever, it's helpful to sort of remind your nervous system that is in the past tense, because your nervous system doesn't know that. Your nervous system is still in there. This happens also for people who are caregivers, because they're vigilant still.
Yeah.
So they're still in that, like, they're sleeping with one eye open, because that person, maybe my loved one will need me in the middle of the night. I gotta, and the doctor's appointment and the pill, the next pill, so they're just so wound up, and their nervous system is still there. So a lot of it is just soothing the nervous system to remind it, nope, right now there's nothing bad happening.
Right.
Nobody's sick. Nobody's dying. The worst thing already happened. Here we are.
Yeah.
And that can be helpful to like hold your heart, keep some pressure on your chest. It can be helpful to do all those breathing things. It could be helpful to be in flow state, whatever gets you there. So for some people that's writing, for some people that's making art, for some people that's moving their bodies vigorously, hiking or dancing. whatever gets you there.
Yeah. And it's about finding what works for you, because
Yes.
some of those won't work for people.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, it's like any part of therapy. Like, you got to take what works for you and leave the rest.
Yeah, you're building up your toolbox because what works today might not work tomorrow also.
Yeah, that is a fucked up part.
Uh-huh.
It's because you think you have one tool and you're like, well, this helps me every time. And then you'll go and it doesn't help. And you're like, why isn't it fixing me?
Yeah, that's really hard also for people who are super religious, because that's been the main tool.
Yeah.
God has me. God will fix this. Give it to God. And sometimes there's questions. Why is God doing this? Why would God let this happen? Why, and all of a sudden, the tool that used to be bringing comfort is bringing pain. And it can be very scary. So that's when we have to think about, well, how can God be here for you now? How can God comfort you in this moment?
Yeah.
Reorient.
That has to be, I kind of feel like that has to be, that's like brings you into like almost more of an existential crisis.
Definitely.
Too, because then where your belief system is challenged and you're.
Yes, it's really sad to see.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said the existential crisis too, because it's a real identity crisis when someone you love dies. Because you were who you were because of how they reflected you back to yourself.
Yeah.
And now you don't have that mirror anymore. So it's very confusing. Who am I now?
Yeah.
And if you were their main care provider, you had all this purpose taking care of them. And now it's like, what the heck am I supposed to do with all this?
Right. Yeah. What's
time?
my purpose now?
What is my purpose now? What am I even doing here?
Yeah.
Or whatever the role was that they played. Well, they were the ones, they were my go-to. If I ever had a question, if I ever had a problem, they were the one I went to. Now who do I go to?
Right.
That's part of the grief process. So it's part of what I do as the counselor is to help them orient to like, where can they continue that bond with that person, where they can know what the advice would be.
Because you do know, like,
Mm-hmm.
if you know that person, you know what they would say to you.
Yes. So we do like writing prompts. That's another great thing to do in grief, where it's like, okay, you write to your person and then you have them write you back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you write yourself back as that person. People always know exactly what their loved one would say. And they're like, okay,
yeah,
that bond is there.
Yeah.
That doesn't go away. The bond does not die.
And I think that gave me a lot of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Like that I don't have to give that up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, that I'll always have that relationship with him.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, just because he's not answering me back now, like in present form, like it's still there. Like what I know of him is still in me too.
Yes.
So it's like, oh yeah, I'll say something or think something about it and be like, yeah, you would say that about this. Like, and it it takes that moment that would kind of be sad and makes it kind of joyous. Like, it's almost like having a secret with someone.
Yeah, I love that. Uh-huh.
It's like, oh yeah. If you were here, I can imagine exactly what you would be saying in this moment. Like,
yes.
Where it kind of gives that, it just shifts it in your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel lucky that I have that and know that.
Mm. And we can even invite that. So one of the things I think is helpful in grief is ritual. So sort of like inviting those moments. You can light a candle and look at photos and sort of conjure them up in your memory for that reason. Or you can release what is no longer serving you and invite in what you want to manifest next. I think one of the satisfying parts of ritual is that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's like kind of clear. You can kind of wrap it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Containment, I feel like, is very important.
Yeah. Well, because then it's like you getting to choose when you're gonna have that grief, as opposed to having the grief like controlling you. You're like, okay, now I'm gonna have this time to feel all these feelings, and then I'm gonna put it back away until the next time that I have some time to do this.
Yes, exactly.
And it gives you that control over it. I mean, it still sneaks up on you, but then when it does, you kind of have that tool of, okay, I know it's here. I didn't expect it, but now let me put it back in its box.
Yeah.
And I will honor it when I is appropriate.
Yeah. Yes.
As opposed to just having it like come up and be like, oh no.
So uncontrollable and scary and overwhelming.
Yeah, where you are then overreacting to the situations and your spaces.
Right. It's coming out sideways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What happens when you have someone where they can't get control of it? Because I mean, I've seen it. I've seen those people that that's all they'll ever talk about. Like they just kind of glom onto it, and it becomes their identity is the grief. Like,
that's when I really try to work the bond.
Yeah.
Do everything to help them to trust that bond is there, even if the grief changes. Because there's
Oh, no, please. I was going to say, do people get addicted to the grief?
I think people get attached to the grief because they feel like that's attached to the person.
Yeah, like you had said that.
Yeah. And for some people, there's also this thing about being seen. And this is where it's like who you are in life is who you are in grief, right? So if that's someone's sort of primary issue is feeling unseen, then when they've had this grief experience, they really want people to see that.
Oh, yeah.
And that becomes very important. And it can look from the outside like that person's being so dramatic, right?
Yeah.
But whatever their life experience was, it led them to this place of feeling like I have to be very big or else I am not seen.
Yeah. Or that their partner didn't matter as much.
There's definitely this thing of like, I need to be performing my grief so that people know that I loved this man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I had the opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Like, I went away 10 days later on a big trip, and I didn't tell anybody on that trip that what had happened. But it wasn't even 10 days, I don't think. There's one person she said something, and I was like, oh no, my partner just died. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. When did that happen? And I was like, last Tuesday.
Right.
It was actually Wednesday, but...
And there's something maybe about your life that led you to be the kind of person who holds your cards tight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And one of the things is I didn't want to manage other people's feelings about my...
Oh, yes.
I didn't want to be the girl with the dead boyfriend. I didn't want to have to manage how they felt about my situation when I was supposed to be on vacation.
And that very much happens.
And so I just was like, and I went in very like thoughtful of, I'm getting on this plane and I will deal with my grief when I get back.
Yeah, it is very hard when people come at you with the, oh, how are you? Oh my God, I'm so sad that your partner died. Oh, and they start crying, and all of a sudden you're comforting them because your partner died. Yeah. It's like, what just happened? Yes. So that is, I feel you on that one.
Yeah. And if you're out there, that is not the way you comfort someone in grief.
No, I mean, and here's the thing, like as a grief counselor, I get touched. I'm a person. And there's times when someone is really in their feelings and expressing them, and I am touched and I tear up, right? And I find that it's validating when someone else is tearing up. It's that you don't want it to get to that place of, okay, I am now bawling and you have to comfort me.
Right. Yeah. Getting tear up is like you're in that empathy
so
much that you know exactly how
I'm
feeling.
You feel
not
it.
Exactly, but you're feeling it.
Yeah, you feel it with them.
Yeah.
So they're not alone.
But you're not being like, oh my God, I'm so sad.
Yes.
Like, that's the difference.
Yes, that is the difference.
Yeah. Because whenever like have had someone that loses someone, I'm like, I wish there was something to say. Like, I'm here and I love you and I If you want someone to just sit next to you while you cry or eat food with you or whatever,
Yes.
we don't have to talk about it, but I'm just here.
Yes.
If you just want a body here, I'm here. Like, but I feel like some people, it's asking them to comfort you. You're asking them, like, what do you need? And usually you don't know what you need.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. I don't know anything right now. And it's like, people will be like, well, let me know what you need. And it's like, I'm not going to reach out to you and tell you I need something because I don't know what I need.
The best thing that happened to me when my husband died was that a friend would just text me every morning, what do you need today? Or what's happening today? Or I'm going to the grocery store. Do you need this or that? Right. You know?
Yeah.
That
short,
kind
direct
of very
questions.
specific, here we are.
Yeah.
I could buy you some more soy milk. Do you need that? You know? That is very helpful.
Yeah. I think or just being like, here, I made you this and dropping food off.
Yeah, not having to manage anything is what's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any other tips that you have that you give to people to help someone in grief?
To help someone manage their own grief or to
like,
help them help a friend?
Help them help a friend.
Oh, help them help a friend? I would say don't shy away. If you don't know what to say, just say, how are you right now? Or, what can I do for you right now? Is there something right now? Or doing that specific thing like, hey, when's the last time you did laundry? Can I come over and do that with you or for you? Which would feel better, doing it for you or with you? Right. That kind of thing. Not taking it personally.
That's a big one.
So checking in and I can bring you over dinner. Would you like me to leave it on your porch or do you want me to come in and eat it with you? And then when you get there and they've said, I want you to come in and previously they had texted back, come eat with me. But then you show up at their doorstep and they're like, never mind, don't come in.
Right.
Don't take that personally.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
That has everything to do with that griever's bandwidth in that second that she did not realize was going to happen earlier when she texted you.
Right. Yeah, giving people the space to change their minds.
Yes.
And not guilt them about it.
Yes.
Like, no, you said you wanted this soup. And they're like, okay, yeah, but now I want pizza.
Exactly. I don't tell you. Changed. Let's put that soup in the freezer.
Because I would be the person be like, yeah, I also thought that we were going to go to the movies on Tuesday, but now he's dead. Like,
guess what? Things changed. Get over it.
That would be my first, like...
Oh, 100%, yes.
But I also have a dark sense of humor.
That is really, and that's another thing I would say that's helpful. And I use humor. I was definitely gallows humor when my husband died. And still, if it's something that resonates with my client, we'll go with that. Yeah. Humor is a great way to bond with a griever, honestly. Because it's like, there's a way in which I feel like grievers, because of that sort of performing place you can get into, don't want to laugh in public because they don't want to be seen as someone who's happy. Yeah. Or because that would be wrong. That isn't how they are. Yeah. And then there's all this little self-judgment that comes also of like, am I laughing too much? Or am I crying too much? Or am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed to go out already? Am I supposed to stay home? What am I supposed to do right now? Like, I remember like looking up, like, what did Yoko Ono do? Like, what did Jackie O do? Like, famous widows. Like, how did they do this?
Top 5 famous widows, and how did they do it?
Exactly. And how did they react? Because I just did not know what was right. Because there is no right way. Right. Now I know. But there is this sort of weird performative piece of it and judgmental that's coming from within and from without, you know? And as a grief counselor, I really urge people to just let them be however they are,
Yeah. I made a joke one day about John not long after he died, and like one of my friends was sitting there and he laughed too. And he knew, like, my friend Steve had just lost like 3 people in 3 months, like, and all very close to him. And so, like, we would make terrible jokes about Wilkie's death all the time. And, like, someone sitting there with, like, wow, you don't respect him. And I was like, and it made me so angry because, like, no, you don't get to judge how we handle this.
Yeah.
Like, and if he was here, he'd be laughing and making this joke, if not making it darker. Like, because he had the same sense of humor, if not way darker. But, like, and I was just like, how dare you judge me because you don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
And you don't, like, you're just sitting listening to 2 good friends make a joke about their other dead friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't get to tell us how we're doing this.
No, yeah.
And then they tried to twist it into this whole other thing about other people dying and us making, and we were like,
what?
We were like, and I was like, you need to go to counseling. I'm like, because clearly that's triggering you on something.
Well, what's so great is that you knew that, and I think that's helpful because for me, like, I was only 34 when Matthew died. I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was a young 34, I have to admit. Pretty young person then. And I couldn't have said, oh, that person's wrong for saying that. Yeah. Well, I would have just taken it in.
Yeah. Well, if I hadn't had therapy but with you, I probably would have taken it in. But I was already in therapy.
Okay, good.
And very much aware of, like, other people's reactions to it.
Yes.
And to
having nothing to do with you.
Yeah. And, like, being like, oh, yeah, that's not mine.
That's not yours.
Especially someone I didn't really know. Like, and I was just like, you don't know us enough to be thinking that you should weigh in on this. And, like, I understand we're in a bar, but, like, you don't know us enough.
Yeah.
And to make a judgment so harshly too, and like, oh, you don't respect him. Like, oh, what? No, I loved and respected, like it was just and it was one of those things where I just remind myself death makes people funny.
Oh, when I wanted to date, like a year later, my neighbor said to me, well, I had a friend whose husband died and she told me that she wasn't going to date because she loved her husband and that was enough. I'm like,
okay,
dude, I am 35 years old.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to date again.
Yeah, yeah. I have a cousin or my mother's cousin, whatever the real like blood is that her husband died and her kid was young and I never saw her date. And then much older in life, she actually started dating again. And I was like, look at you. I was so excited for her because I was like, why? Like, she's such an amazing person that I was like, I've just always, even at young, would be like, why is she just cutting that off from herself?
Yeah.
And for her, it's what she needed to do to keep it for her kid. And I'm not judging it, but I just always felt like, I just feel like you're missing out on so much of life. Like,
well, and I think that's what becomes hard, right? Is we're talking about vitality and our inner life source. And when you're in grief, it can become very difficult to locate your own vitality. And that took me a while to realize that I had it, that there was still a light shining in there. And then to orient towards it and to move into it and to sort of allow it and then celebrate it.
Yeah.
And that is the work. That's part of the work of a griever too, is to rediscover what is their own vitality, because what used to work might not work anymore. What used to be the thing that made you feel alive and like a person might have shifted. And I think going back just to myself, because that's the lived experience I have is me, that was also, I was in sort of a natural developmental stage of life where I was sort of maturing into this other part of being as a mom and shifting careers even at that moment.
Right.
I was very new in my career as a doula then. So what had worked prior wasn't going to work then, even if Matthew had stayed alive. Right? Yep. So just that they coincided was difficult.
Right.
And I see that also with widows at various stages of life, or people who have lost parents at various stages of life, same, where you have to sort of realize that partly what's happening just makes sense because of how old they are.
Right. Yeah, I've always wondered, and this kind of goes back to the comparison thing, but like, is it better to have experienced death young and like have had kind of to grow up with it? or have not experienced it until you're older and like have your parents or grandparents be the first, like, and it's such a weird, it is a comparison, but I'm always like, I feel lucky that I understood what death was because it made me appreciate life more.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah.
But then to not have that kind of wound my whole life maybe would have been nice.
Right. It would have been great if you had had someone that you could have actually talked to about it when you were a kid and had that time to metabolize.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because I think what would have, like, how would have that affected so many other things? But then you get into the shoulding and like what ifs, and you can't do that in life.
This is the life we're leading, it turns out.
Yeah. Through therapy, I have learned.
This is it.
That is not the reality.
But
it is like you can't kind of help your brain from going to some of those places sometimes.
Oh, definitely.
And it's just an interesting kind of thought playland is to be like, what's that like? Because I can't imagine. I've had friends who, you know, their grandparents are their first person they lost when they were like 30.
Yeah.
And then it's like devastating and changes their whole world. And you're like, well, yeah, of course that's what happened. And they're like, but nobody told me. And nobody, and how do
I didn't know. I'm so unprepared.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, oh yeah, I just always knew that that's how it happens. Like someone in your life dies and it forever shifts who you are. And there's a beauty in it if you can lean into it.
Yes, there is. There's that opening, like we were talking about. You're broken open.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's if you can do it right. Or, I mean, you have people like you that can help you get there.
Yes.
And learn to do it. Yes. And it's because if you do, like, you can have a great life that keeps just getting better, like yours.
Yeah.
Because
I just got married.
You did. I know. Congratulations.
Thank you. That's quite something, huh?
So nice. I mean, I can't.
It's crazy that, you know, it's funny because I think at one point 20 years ago, when it had been 2 years after Matthew died, I was sure that I was going to get remarried.
Oh.
I just was, or I was probably at that 3-year mark when I was like, oh, this is the life I'm living. Yeah. It was probably right then where I was thinking, okay, what I do now is I find someone and we couple up, because that's just sort of what I knew. And, you know, I had partners throughout that didn't last and whatever. And then it was sort of at this place of like, wow, I guess I'm just going to be single. That's weird. I thought I was sort of a partner person, right. You know. But here I am, still single. And, you know, 49, 50 years old. Like, and then I met my partner. And yeah, COVID really helped us because we were stuck together. And we decided to be together.
Nice. Yeah, I think COVID was either good or bad for people. I don't think
it made or broke a lot of relationships, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of in between with the COVID. I think it really went one way or the other.
It seems like that. Yeah.
For relationships, for just how people handle adversity. Like, I think it really showed people, like, or at least if you could let it, it showed you kind of what was right and what was wrong in the world.
It's like grief. I mean, it was grief.
Yeah.
Yes, you get that sort of clarity about what matters.
Yeah. Well, I love that you framed grief as it's about big change. Because I think that makes it easier to understand, too. Because nobody really tells you what grief is or how to handle it or talks about it.
Yeah, and I mean, COVID, that's a great example of big change that we weren't talking about the grief part of it. I mean, first of all, many people died.
Yeah.
And there was no sort of mass memorial like there was after 9/11.
Oh, that's really true.
It was just like all these people were dead and we weren't even having funerals for them because we couldn't gather.
Right.
So there's all this collective grief that did not get expressed and recognized. And there's also the collective experience of your life just suddenly completely changing.
Right. Well, and it's like highlighting that you have no control over your life.
Yeah, which, yeah.
Do you think that's why so many people are still so angry? That I just feel like I had a breakthrough on what is wrong with our world right now. Because like in grief, you get like you get angry. You know what I mean? Because
you're out of control.
Yeah, because it's easier than being sad.
Yes.
And then so people now are looking for things to help them with their anger. And so now they're hating on each other even more.
I know.
And dividing each other because it's easier to not like the other.
Yeah, it's so awful what's happening right now. There's so much grief.
Yes.
I am feeling so much grief for our country and for the divisions and the divisiveness that's happening. It's just so painful. And that definitely enters the counseling room as well, because not only are people dealing with their personal losses, they're dealing with this loss of feeling secure in the world.
Right. Well, even just safety of going to work right now, especially for so many people, is like that's not safe. Going to
Walking outside your door.
Yeah.
I saw ICE went into somebody's house and arrested them. Like, what is happening? This is scary.
Yeah. I saw them taking a guy, and the woman was like, "He works for us. He's a citizen." And they were like, "Yeah, well, we're taking him."
Too bad.
And
So sad. I know.
They just took him like, and there's just men in masks taking people in cars and being like,
kidnapping
"You can't do
them.
anything about it."
Yeah.
And people are thinking that should be normalized. I don't understand it.
What has become normalized right now is so outrageous and egregious. It's
yeah. And just the othering and the hate speech. And I'm not talking like hate, just hateful speech or like calling whole swaths of people names on a podium as a politician.
Yeah.
Like, how did we get here?
Dude.
I
know. I don't know. I can't decide. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If we did, we could fix it.
We could have, right?
But maybe some of it is all the grief that people have felt that they don't know how to deal with and nobody's talking about. Because you're right. Like after 9/11, we all kind of came together to be like, this was horrible. And those people like,
and
there was something.
Built those memorial things at where the towers were. And they were, there was all this museum and there was all this stuff.
Right. And with COVID, it's like people can't even decide if like you talk about someone dying during COVID and it's like, well, did they really have COVID? And then it gets into like this conspiracy theory and
the pandemic and all this stuff. Yeah.
And so it's like, you can't even have like an honest, you can't even just talk about someone who you love died because there's too much attached to it. So it's like, there's not room to even grieve or even talk about, you're just sad that you lost your person because it devolves into this whole other conversation about something that
about politics.
Yes. Which it's like, that's not how our lives used to be. Like politics would be something that came up every once in a while, but it wasn't.
We are like steeped in it now.
Yeah. It's like, and people, did you see Gil King just posted something about, she was on a plane with a Fox guy.
Oh.
And so she was like, two newscasters from opposite sides end up sitting next to each other. Like, how's it go? And she was like, great time was had by all. Like, I'm saving your number. And people were like trolling her. And I was like, I love that she did that. She was saying like, look, we can have a beer.
They're people. Yeah.
Like we sat next to each other for 4 hours and the world is still okay. And people were like, how dare you talk to him? How would you take a selfie with him? And it's like, you should hate him. Like,
I remember when, what's his name? Not Jimmy Kimmel, the other one.
Fallon.
Fallon, yeah. He had Trump on his show.
Oh.
And they're like, stop trying to normalize him,
Normalize him. He's running for president.
Exactly.
It's pretty normalized.
We have to kind of deal with this.
Right. Well, it's like Democrats and Republicans used to like fight and then go have a beer together.
Yeah.
No. And now it's like you can't even talk to someone that has a different idea than you without being like, you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
Well, how about maybe their idea is terrible, but they could still be a good person.
Yeah, it's very black and white.
Yeah.
And that is sorry to bring us back into this, but black and white is also part of your grief experience, because I feel like there's this, or what I notice is that people think they can only feel one of two ways about something.
Yeah.
Where they are either feeling devastated or feeling joyful, and there's never both. When in reality, we contain multitudes. Was that Blake, I think, said that? And it's true. We do. We feel very many things at once, all the time. But somehow living in the gray is not normal anymore. Like, it's this very black and white thing. And that does show up in grief, because we're back at this thing of like, am I allowed to laugh? Am I crying too much? Like, or, I had friends over and it felt good. I felt supported, but I can't feel good. I don't feel good. I mean, I don't really feel good, and it's like, no, it's okay to feel good. You do. You feel good, and you feel sad. Yeah. And you feel scared, and you feel joy. And you feel all the ways all at the same time.
Yeah. I think learning to live in the gray is one of the most powerful things you can do as a person. And like in all aspects of your life, where you can kind of see both sides and not be anchored into either one.
Yeah, and take the middle way.
Yeah. And be like, I'm going to take some of that and some of this, because I do know, like, I don't like some of the ideas that person says they have, but when I see them in action all the time, the person who I see is a good person and who is, so I'm going to like know that can exist in the same thing. Like, I can disagree with someone in some of their ideas, but agree with how they operate through the world.
Yes.
And I think,
And it's hard because they are voting for someone who's doing egregious things.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And some of that I can't kind of be okay with, because
like, well, it's hard to rationalize.
Yeah. And like also when it comes to voting against someone's best interest, I have a hard time with that. Like,
sure, of course.
But I'm not going to condemn that person to be like this other thing.
Yes.
That is
this evil incarnate thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to try to see why they think that, and maybe try to pull them over to like seeing my side too, and seeing how, I don't know, if we could just have common courtesy and living wages and healthcare, like if everyone would be happier.
Start to orient to what we have in common instead of what we disagree upon. I think that's what you're saying.
Yes.
And that's what I believe a good president does, is unite the United States, right?
Yeah.
Our current president seems much more intent on dividing.
Yeah.
And that is where there's dangerous. It's divide and conquer, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and
we're all falling for it.
And if you're always so busy fighting with the people around you, you're not seeing what they're doing and taking advantage of. And that's the same way in your own life. Like if you're so busy worrying about one little thing, like and fighting with the people in your life, you're not seeing the other stuff or the effects that it has on you. It's kind of like not knowing when you're in grief.
Yeah, finding that perspective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could talk to you all night. But thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. And I love that we got, because I asked you to sit down, like probably when we kind of wrapped up our session, I said, after this, like, will you come on? And you were so nice and kind and said yes. And then it's been a while. And then when we said that we were going to do this, you were very cautious of like making sure that I felt safe, because we're talking about, one, really sad subject, and two, that you were my therapist. And I was saying, no, I want people to hear kind of how we did this and how you do this, because I don't know if it wasn't for Grace, who was my friend that encouraged me to go. And I don't know if she hadn't kept encouraging me, if I would have. And I want to make sure other people are encouraged to go and look, because Sutter has this amazing program where you can come and get grief counseling for free. Yeah. I'm sure there's other counties in the country that do that.
Hospices are mandated to provide grief counseling.
Oh, okay.
So for some hospices that just looks like making follow-up calls after someone dies on that hospice.
Okay.
And some hospices, like the one I work for, do community work. And then there's also there's always other therapists that offer grief counseling. Yeah. You definitely want to get a therapist who is fluent in grief.
Right.
Not all therapists are. like I wasn't even actually taught about grief in grad school. Yeah. Now I go and I teach grief 101s.
Nice.
To aspiring
grad students.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we, my little collective exists and we're doing grief retreats. Right now they're seasonal and hopefully they'll be monthly once we get going.
Oh, good. And then there are a ton of programs that are out there and grief groups. There's a ton of support if you just look.
Yes.
And it's just taking the time to look. And maybe that's if someone in your life is going through it, like you can look for them. That's what you can do. Yes. And be like, hey, here's a list of in our area of grief groups, or because there's support groups all over the place for it. Yeah. When you had given me a list and Grace had given me a list and I was just like, group is not my thing. I'm like, that's too many eyeballs on like a vulnerable state. And I also had reservations on coming to a place where I knew someone who knew the counselor.
Yes.
And that goes back to being a kid. And then I know. I wouldn't tell you who my friend
so
was.
Funny. She walks in. She's like, I know someone in this building. I was like, oh, okay. Who? I don't want to tell you. I'm like, all right. You don't have to. I think it was like our last session. We were like, okay, now I want to tell you who it is that I know in the building.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want it to affect our kind of relationship. And knowing that your boss is my friend.
Yes.
That was like, come to therapy. And I was just like, yeah, I don't want to say something and have it, or have you be guarded, because what happens if I go back to your boss and be like, that therapist?
I don't know about her.
Meanwhile, I went back and I was like, she's phenomenal. She's helping me so much. And you did. And I will forever be grateful for the help that you gave me. And that I was then able to kind of help permeate through my friends, but more importantly, just for myself.
Yeah.
And to not have to carry the sadness of all of it. Like I'll carry every memory and all of those feelings, but it doesn't, I mean, thinking about it now, I'm starting to tear up.
Yeah.
But
it's not controlling your life anymore.
No. And it's, like I had gone out on a date not long after or a few months after, and I just had forgotten that someone would ask you what happened. Like,
oh, right.
And I just started laughing.
Tell me about your previous relationships. Ha 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 ha, he died.
That's basically how I sounded.
Oh, God.
And he was like, haha, that's funny. But no, what happened? And I was like, oh, yeah, no, he
really
dead.
did.
Died, still dead.
Gonna stay there, it seems.
And I was just like, oh, my God, I am so terrible. Like,
oh, my
I'm like,
goodness.
oh, yeah, we were having a great time. And then he just died. I don't know. But it's it makes me laugh to think about now, because he would have found that hysterical, like,
right,
and it was just like, oh yeah, that's always going to be something that's there.
Well, these dating apps where the guys are always like, no baggage.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? No baggage. How do you get to be our age and not have baggage?
Right.
And I wouldn't even want someone with zero life experience. That's what they're really saying.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
No, I want someone with some baggage. I want them to have, worked their baggage, processed whatever it is, come out of it.
Yeah, have that shit on a luggage cart.
Yeah,
make it easy to carry.
Yeah, exactly.
But like have dealt with it.
Yeah, of course, and grown from it. Like we're talking about is that possibility, right? But. No, I don't understand this. No baggage, people.
Yeah, I don't either. Because I don't want someone that doesn't understand how hard life can be and how you can come back from it. Mm-hmm. Like I want someone that understands, like you're going to hit hard parts.
Yes.
And then you're going to get over it.
Yes. And get through it.
Yeah. And that maybe sometimes it's messy and whatever, but like you'll get through the mess.
Yeah.
Like, because I want someone like one life, because life inevitably gets messy or shitty or.
Yeah, you have to have some tools to deal with it.
Yeah, I want to know that this person has been through stuff and has made it through.
Yeah.
And that they're going to be able to help me go through it just like I'll help them.
Yeah.
And because if someone has never been tested, how do you know how they're going to... I mean, even if they have, you're not sure how they'll make it through it. But
sure.
Just if someone's been tested and has made it through, like, all right, that's a partner I would like.
Yes. Good track record.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You're a survivor also. We can do this.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to let you return to since, you're newlywed.
That's me.
Yes. So thank you so much, Stacia, for joining us. Thank you for sharing your story and the tips and helping us all learn about grief.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all for listening, and go find some joy. If not today, when? And we are.